Hey everyone, it's Michael Kikle. I hope you're doing well today, and once again I have a review for another Batman book. This one is Volume 2 of Batman Justice Buster, and I think this is still ongoing, like I said in my review for Volume 1. Now, as I also said in my Volume 1 review, if you're watching this video because you're curious about whether the small threads of actual story, which are kind of just the subplots outlining the book, are any good and go anywhere with Volume 2. If you read Volume 1 and were disappointed, just know so was I. But Volume 2, I think, really improves a lot of things Volume 1 gets wrong. It actually begins to actually have a story for Batman. And by the end of it, I was really engaged. And I said this kind of in my Volume 1 review. If you haven't seen that before, go check it out if you'd like. But, of course, this is a manga by Ichi Shimizu and Tomohiro Shimaguchi, adapting kind of American Western comics of Batman to manga. And once again, the art is pretty solid, if not better than it was in the previous volume. And I think when it opens up, it's already got kind of a more bang for your buck situation. Even though the book itself is a shorter manga, it's kind of like Dead Company Volume 1. It's almost like 20 or 30 pages shy to me compared to Justice Buster Volume 1 in length, and that feels like you're losing some money. But this book was a lot better than Volume 1 in every way possible, to be honest with you. The art improved. The opening of it starts off with a dream sequence that may be more prophetic than I'm realizing about Batman and Superman having an encounter and Superman basically killing everybody for some reason. And maybe that'll happen, maybe it won't, I don't know, but I will guarantee you it does not happen in this book. But when the book really opens up, we have Batman still kind of meandering around, doing his own thing, and he's starting to get tied into this loop, and about halfway through he for sure is, about the murder of his parents, which he's always been obsessed with, obviously. But this other character that keeps showing up to the crime scenes when Batman fights people and investigates people, like a detective named Jay, or the Joker, the one wearing the luchador mask that looks so terrible. That character is becoming way more interesting now, because the things I thought about him that you're kind of set up for, but I could see people debating who this is, why he's doing the things he's doing. I will not spoil anything in this book for you. Maybe a little bit of the previous book, but not a whole lot. The stuff with this Jay character, or Joker character, I really love a lot. I think it's magnificent. It becomes pretty much a highlight of this book, and I loved where it went. And even seeing Batman and this guy kind of team up, if I told you that during my review for Volume 1, which I didn't, if I told you that, I think it would put you off. Because if you read Volume 1, you know it's not good. It wouldn't make sense for these two to work together. And I think most people are like me and have this resilience to any form of the Joker ever working with Batman, whether it be in the Telltale games or anything. There's something about that that always rubs me the wrong way, no matter what version it is. And I don't know how many people would react to this story being done the way it is, or this version of the Joker being done the way he is. Maybe they'll change things up. I don't know. But I like it. I like it a lot with that version of Joker we're doing here. And then there's this other plot that we've been focusing on where young Dick Grayson, or this little boy, or whatever you want to call him, goes to hang out with this private detective that we kind of followed off and on throughout the previous book. I didn't know if he would end up being like Constantine or something, because we never really delved too much into his name or who he was, but he was a private detective, and he gets involved and tries to get involved with Batman about Bruce Wayne's family murder, his parents being killed. And I thought that was really, really good. And the stuff we find out about this little boy, Dick Grayson, and all the stuff happening with him was way more interesting than it had any right to be. All of that stuff I loved, and the stuff about Uncle Sam, the little boy's uncle that takes care of him, that we kind of see off and on throughout the first book, he is way better here. He's becoming a pretty big menace. I think many of us by the end of this book kind of realize who they're making him into be, and I really dig it. There's a lot of other Rogues Gallery villains that kind of popped up here and there in the previous volume, but they really show up here. Uncle Sam is, in a couple of scenes, really horrific. One in particular where he slaughtered a bunch of people, and it was amazing. The art was so good and complimentary to that. It was The Dark Knight, but if The Dark Knight showed you things, like murders, like the Gamble slit mouth scene. If you actually got to see it on the screen, that's kind of what they're showing here. It's not horrifically gruesome, but it's enough to make you cringe, just a little bit. And I loved that. But Uncle Sam is a threat. He's becoming a threat anyway, and I really like what they're doing with him here. You can't trust this guy. And I wouldn't even say that Bruce is on the tail of investigating him by the end of this movie. Or book, I mean. But it's getting good. It's got some good stuff, man. I know there's a volume 3. I can't wait to pick that up, but I don't think this is still ongoing. I could be wrong about that. I hope it is, to be honest with you, because of how good this was. And I really hope that Joker and Superman 2 sets of manga series tie into this at some point, too. I hope so. I don't think they do, but I hope they do, because this is really getting good now. Volume 1 was such a disappointment, and I said that again and again in my review. My review was like 14 minutes long because I kept having to repeat how much of a disappointment that book was to me. This book, if you can make it to this one, and sit through that first 200 pages of Volume 1 to get to this, it's totally worth your time. From the first couple of pages onward, it's worth your time. So if that's what you're looking for in this review, I'm telling you that is the case. You will enjoy this more than likely. It still meanders a little bit, but I do like the stuff involving like Harvey Dent. We kind of have a gang war boiling up in this, whatever, as time goes on, and that gets way more interesting than I thought it would be too, to be honest with you. But Batman Justice Buster Volume 2, everything from the art, which was already good in Volume 1 for kind of a boring-ass story, everything like that to the storytelling, to the character stuff, the Batman stuff, the Bruce Wayne stuff for that matter, all the side character stuff, I liked way more. No, loved way more in here. It's not an amazing series, but it definitely shot itself way over average and above average for how good this book is. And again, it makes up for a lot of things, and it makes Volume 1 better in hindsight from what I'm seeing here, from the things I'm experiencing here, and kind of the mystery of some of the things happening in this book are becoming better in Volume 1. Where if I think Volume 3 and whatever else the volumes are after this, if they manage to really land the ending on this series, if there is an ending, I think there's a good chance that Volume 1 will be a lot better. Like a lot better. It already is, but I think it might be even more tolerable depending on how the series develops from here on. So anyway, I don't really have much more to say. I'm really digging it. I like the Rogues Gallery showing up in here. Not all of it, but quite a bit of it. The Penguin pops up in here again. And that mob war going on is pretty neat. I do like what's happening there. I like Commissioner Gordon in both of these volumes. I think both really portray him in a good way. Kind of in that way that the Batman movie does. And that's pretty cool, you know? But anyway, Batman Justice Buster Volume 1, or Volume 2, I guess in this case. Once again, if you can make it through Volume 1, this one will totally pique your interest. I think it'll be way better than you expect it to be. And I hope you check it out. This cover kind of lies. Superman is not heavily involved in here. He's just kind of there, maybe like once or twice in the book. And I assume in Volume 3, he's going to be way more important than people realize. But it's pretty neat. I'm curious what's going to happen with that. But I will say this. The AI technology that Batman uses in Volume 1 called Robin, he uses it here as well. That stuff and the title Justice Buster are becoming really old by the end of this book. It's really showing how predictable that storyline was from the get-go. When I was reading Volume 1, like I said in my review for Volume 1, I was immediately like, this is what's going to happen with that. And it was no question about it that it happens here, basically. So anyway, Batman Justice Buster Volume 2, definitely check it out if you haven't read it before. Really cool read. Much better than Volume 1 by like 1 billion marks up. And it makes that volume better in a lot of ways. Not a whole lot, but it tries. Anyway, let me know what you think about this series so far and this volume down below, as well as the previous volume if you didn't comment on that review. I'd love to hear everything you have to say about all of it down in the comments. And thank you all for watching, guys. God bless you all. Catch you later, and goodbye.